Did you watch AEW?
Yes. Did you, Joe?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
You didn't. Honestly, you didn't miss much because this was
I missed stuff this week.
This match.
Okay. What was the rating?
Oh yeah.
Oh, 7.
Wow. Under 800 again.
797. Yeah.
What was last week? Can you check real quick?
It's like 803 or 820 something. It was down, but I'm watching the show and saying this is going to be down. There was nothing compelling. There weren't even
801,000 last week, so it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, nobody's interested in this stuff. They're not doing any. There's no storytelling.
I got you.
Like there's no like.
There was nothing. There was absolutely. Here's the problem. There was absolutely nothing that I said I want to watch next week.
But right, and the thing was, okay, so they open up with did I miss something here? Because I remember Adam Page came
Swerve Joe, maybe.
But but I'm going to make a point about that, right? So Page was wrestling Claudio,
right?
So I remember, Page last week showed up at the show because all the guys in the Undisputed Kingdom, they came back and revealed they were the devil. So all the people that they had beat up and everything had issues with them. And Page came back to the show last week looking for those guys because I'm looking for a fight. And he went out there and had to pull apart with Swerve, right?
Right.
So my thing, okay, well, why was he wrestling? Where in storyline progression did he have a match with Claudio here? Why were they wrestling each other? Just because it was a good match?
Good point. Right. Right. Because that's all it takes. A good match is better than a good storyline.
Right. So of course this was a good, decent match because these guys are pretty good workers. But you know what's funny? 2 matches on this show. They do all these ridiculous false finishes, like these devastating moves, and 2 matches ended with the clothesline. Page has the buckshot Larry. That's his finish, but it's still just a clothesline. But it's 17 minutes in a match with no build up, and plus let me tell you my other. Let me go over the list so people listen to the show of my pet peeves. Right, number 1 pet peeve is the thigh slapping. Okay, but these guys aren't egregious thigh slappers, so that was not much of a problem here. My second pet peeve is the spot where you just stand there and let the guy forearm you. You let him and you take your time, and he hits you. Where it's not just back and forth. It's you stand there. It's like, come on, you hit me and I'll hit you, and then just back and forth is stupid, right? The way the guys don't know how to sell before a guy dives on him, where they all just stand there looking at the guy, and the guy runs across the ring and jumps on him. That's number 3. Number 4 is, I don't know when this happened. Bro, you watch old school wrestling, when you shoot a guy in and he's ducking a clothesline, everybody and their mother throws the clothesline really hard like you're trying to take the guy's head off.
Right.
These days, clotheslines that you literally, because you don't want to accidentally hit the guy in case he doesn't duck. Everybody's always shooting over the head and very slow. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5, this new stupid martial arts elbow spot where they're doing your elbow in the spot, the guy in the head. Joe, I want you while we're doing the show, I want you to pull up Gary Goodridge UFC, okay? And he finishes a guy in the old school UFC, and I want to show people that what they're trying to sell, how the guy sells it in the UFC, and how they sell it in professional wrestling. Okay, that's another pet peeve. So that's those are my 5.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Di. What I just did is I was testing it. I put us live on Rumble. So
okay,
I'm going to start sharing the link. People will be watching in a couple.
Really?
Or seconds, or whatever.
Live on Rumble. We're going live on Rumble. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Rumble in the jungle.
So anytime I see these,
put it at the new Rumble in the jungle, Joe.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So any time I see these spots, they're very poorly done. They're very lazy. They're bad habits, and I just so this stupid elbow spot, I don't know. It looks atrocious. Those are 5 things I think that look bad that a lot of people do on the show repeatedly over and over.
I would agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just think, first of all, what happened to the Blackpool Combat Club? Are they not a thing anymore? They used to come out together. So I don't understand that. I don't understand how you brought in Claudio Castagnelli like he was the next superstar, and now he loses everybody. Okay.
Right.
The match was good as you knew it would be, Right. But I don't really care about this.
Right.
And why isn't he fighting the guys he was looking for last week, like you said?
Right. Yeah. So this is no storyline progression at all for anything. Right. So then, okay, and let's just remind you here. Adam Page has an issue with Swerve, and he has an issue with those guys because he came looking for them. Okay, the Undisputed Kingdom. Okay, so that's his storyline. But he just got a 17-minute win over Claudio.
Okay,
which was like,
did you see this match?
Did I watch it? Yeah. I turned on at work on Wednesday nights at 8:00. I turned the show live on Hulu, and I'm watching.
Remind me, was it this one or was it another one? Because I know for what was the? Okay, we'll get to it in a second.
All right. So next, so they're talking. So this is the anniversary of Brody's death or something, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's going to be a recurring thing every year. They're going to do this, right? So anybody that was associated with Cody, they're kind of like highlighted on the show. So Adam Copeland, who is in a huge feud with Christian Cage, is just randomly in an 8-man tag match here with Orange Cassidy, Dustin Rhodes, Adam Copeland, and Preston Vance.
But he might have been a friend of his, but we don't know.
Okay, right.
They might have been boys.
Against Lance Archer, Cage, Toa Leona, and Bishop Code, who are Ring of Honor guys. And they had these guys are the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. Did you know that, Konnan? Cage, Toa Leona, and Bishop Code?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, that's what they had their belts for, because they had these guys. A lot of people had belts, and I don't know what I knew what this belt was for. And Lance Archer came back, and he's got no issue with anybody except he's just in a random 8-man tag match here. So this was an 8-man tag match.
And unless he can't talk good anymore, why is Jake the Snake out there if he's not talking? I mean, what a waste of talent. If he,
So they put Vance over because he was the connection to Brody. All right, so.
Right. And he actually had a kind of like a babyface comeback, and the people really liked it because I guess the guy's trademark thing was like a discus clothesline, and he hit him with that, so people liked it. Yeah.
All right. So then they go back. So I guess then this is storyline progression, I guess. So Jay White, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn are backstage. And they're talking about the Undisputed Kingdom. The Caster Bowens and Billy Gunn showed up because they were the guys that had issue, and they basically talked about maybe joining together to fight them. And that was the gist of this, right?
Right. And listen to the name of the group: Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
why would we want to see these? Yeah. Right. I don't think we want to see these 6 together.
All right. So,
I don't know whose idea it is.
So this would have been a good spot for storyline progression for Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe comes out and cuts a promo. He'd look great because he's got a suit on.
Right. Looks very believable.
Dresses for work. Looks like he's professional.
You know what he reminds me of a little bit? He reminds me of the Samoan version of Kingpin.
Yeah, that's a good Kingpin in the Batman stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's a good analogy here. But he looks professional, cutting a good promo. So Swerve comes out. Okay, now they want to kind of sell Swerve as a babyface, but he comes out with his crew who are heels. So this is kind of like,
who look like Jay Brones. I'm sorry.
Right, they all had their belts. Okay.
Right.
Swerve entered the ring and said that things don't need to be personal between him and Joe, but he wants his title will take it. And Swerve said that once he does, if Joe wants to make things personal, that he'd be more than happy to. So then, now mind you, Paige. Okay, so Paige does have an issue with Swerve. So Paige comes out. Okay, and Paige recalls some of the key points in 2023. He said the one thing he lost sight of last year was the AEW World Championship. And Paige went to face with Swerve, said he will take his title in 2024. Or we make the title his in 2024. Then Nana pulled Swerve back and got him to leave with the rest of his crew. Then Paige went face to face with Joe and asked him what he was looking at. Paige said he had not forgotten what Joe did to him and he would take his title belt for it. And Paige exited the ring. I thought the segment was over. Did you think it was over then? When he late?
Yes, and then Hook came out. Yeah,
and Hook came out, and Hook comes out.
He did nothing. He did absolutely nothing that would interest me in a match with Samoa Joe.
Let me read the paragraph.
All right.
Here. This. Did you tell me how come? Right. Hook's entrance theme played. Joe looked up, and there was a Hook sign. Hook headed to the ring holding the FTW Championship belt. Hook entered the ring and went nose-to-nose with Joe, who talked smack to him. Hook pointed at the AEW World Championship belt and said, 1 week. Hook exited the ring while Joe shook his head in disbelief. Joe's entrance scene played again. Joe should have been even more animated and dismissive in his facial expressions of this. Like, are you kidding me? Like this kid.
Bro,
like,
but that did, he did have a dismissive look on his face. He did at the end.
They should have sold it the whole time. Like, what is this guy? Right. You're like, are you kidding me?
He waited till the end to do it, but bro, I would have had like when the kid turned around, Samoa Joe attacks him, right? Does something to him, throws him to the ropes, maybe misses something, and this kid suplexes him. When he suplexes him, he rolls him out of the ring, and everybody comes in and breaks him up. At least I have a reason to go. I want to see what happens. Right. This did nothing, absolutely nothing for me to want to see this. He just got nose to nose for him for like 20 seconds and left.
Let me just say real quick, because I'm sorry, Konnan, I thought you were finished. We have some people watching on Rumble, and this is just a test. Like, I'm not sure exactly.
Rumble, young man, Rumble.
I'm not sure exactly what we'll do. Maybe we'll play we'll do a little mailbag live going forward, or a little Dynamite, whatever it is. This is just a test, but thanks for the people that are here. So
who's here?
Like, we got 16. We're going crazy now. We're up to 16, 17. But in the future, when we plan it, when you guys share the link, we'll have some more going on. I just shared it real quick, so this is just a test. But yeah,
Joe, I want you to look at the comments. Do you have the comment section of the live stream?
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure. I want to hear if there's anybody say anything that they should get suspended.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, so you can get suspended here too on Rumble?
Oh, we can find out who they are, and if they have a connection to the Discord or something, or our mailbag, that we can suspend them. Yeah.
And going forward, you can also it looks like you can pay here. They can give us a little tip action, and what they do is they pay a few bucks for what's called a rant, and then we have to read their rant, but they're paying for it. So,
all right. So this was funny. Okay, I'm mixed bag on Toni Storm, but when they give her good verbiage and stuff and everything, it's actually pretty fun. Okay, so Renee Paquette interviewed her, and she was accompanied by Luther Mariah.
Okay, for the record, I'm not mixed bag on Toni Storm. I'm all in on her.
Well,
she first started this. Yeah,
some of the vignettes I think are bad attempts at humor. I thought this one was pretty good.
Some of them, yes, but in general, I think it's a great gimmick.
Good. Yeah, right. It says you can work with it. It's definitely outside the box, and it's an entertaining character. She actually has a
different, different. Yeah.
Well, she's different because she actually has a character, which makes her different than most of the people on the show, right? So Paquette asked for Storm's reaction to everything that went down last week, and Storm said she didn't see any of May's debut match and asked how it went and whether she used an arm drag. Paquette brought up Dianna Peraso's debut and said she thinks Peraso. She called her I think she mispronounced her name.
She did Storm pronounce her name twice.
Told Luther to set up a meeting with her. It was funny because Mariah May said something to go, just have a chocolate. She took a chocolate out.
Right. Yeah, it's very dismissive of her. Yeah.
Right. But this was entertaining. Okay. But so they ended up her and Peraso, and she buried her. And this was a good interview, I thought. So I had good stuff here.
Very good.
So there's a big angle right now. This is interesting. So Ricky Starks and Big Bill are in an angle with Sammy and Jericho. So we have Ricky Starks and Sammy out there without Jericho and without Big Bill.
Which you knew they would get involved.
Okay, but I thought the way they did this, I was like, what's going on here? Starks countered by rolling Guevara into a pin for 2 count. Guevara came back with a super kick. Guevara caught Starks with another super kick, then hooked him an inside cradle before getting the 3 count. Isn't it funny? Like all the moves, the devastating moves they do on these shows, and these guys are getting beat with inside cradles and clotheslines and stuff. So this made no sense. I know what they were trying to get to.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he hit him with. Yeah, he hit him with a super kick, and then he did the inside cradle. You're right.
Right. So after the match, Guevara spoke to Starks. Now, these guys are in a feud with each other. He offered a handshake. Sammy accepted the handshake. I don't know.
But you know why? No. You know why?
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because they both, as a shoot, and obviously they said it on the show, but you probably missed it. But they said that they both started as a shoot in the Indies in Texas. And I think this is the first time they ever went against each other in AEW. But the hardcores love it.
Right.
And that's all that they're drawing. You know what I'm saying? Because I think I even remember one time we went to Texas when I was booking an Aero Lucha, and I used both of them, not in the same match. So they both probably grew up around the same time, you know what I'm saying, in the Indies and all that. And, we're finally hit the big time. We're going to face each other. So that's, I think, why they shook hands. But why aren't they explaining that as that's happening?
Because it looked like it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right. Because
I know
if you didn't catch what I just told you, which a lot of people might have missed a show or might have been multitasking or whatever, and didn't know that, you're like, yeah, why are these two guys shaking hands when one's a heel and one's a babyface?
First, one would not offer, and there's another one would not accept it. Well, it's
Right.
just like this is the whole thing. Both guys broke it, did something to their characters that looked confusing to me. Like, why are they doing that? So Big Bill attacks him. Jericho comes out with a baseball bat, and basically they have a brawl. And they chase the heels off. And people were saying that because Jericho's getting booed because of the NDA stuff and everything, they played Judas the entire time so you couldn't hear anybody if they were being booed. But he still got good fire and got a good reaction. Yeah, he showed good fire and got a good reaction, I thought.
Yeah, he's over, bro. He's Chris Jericho. I mean, we don't have nobody said these are all allegations. You know what I'm saying? And until somebody comes out and tells me different, they're just allegations.
All right. So next we have another.
We just got something we spoke about recently. I guess Ice Cube's son O'Shea Jackson saw that we were looking for him, and he tweeted he'll do the show. So I'm getting in contact with him.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
So
tell him I'd rather have on his dad.
Right.
Would that get any heat?
Maybe a little.
another random match with Thunder Rosa, Chris Statlander, Will Nightingale, and Anna Jay against Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Mariah Ruby Soho. Just an 8-man tag that Jay
for like no real reason, right? Like, what was the reason for this?
To put Jay over because they're doing the Brody Lee thing.
Oh, that's
So it's like so there was no storyline, no progress, nothing, just a random match. This was funny. Excalibur said Wheeler Yuta has been Mr. Rampage of late. If I was Wheeler Yuta, I'd say, "Don't call me that." It's like Mr.
That's
C
like
show, right.
That's like the world's tallest little person, right?
Right. So Yuta took issue with Eddie Kingston, referred to him as a young boy. Yuta boasted about a 9-match winning streak on Rampage and regaining the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Let me give you something. Do you know Konnan in like 6.5, 7 years that was in WCW? On WCW Saturday Night TV, can you recall if you ever lost a match on Saturday night? I only lost one, and that's because I wrestled Raven. I went over in every single Saturday night match I ever wrestled.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Right. So, could you imagine me trying to sell that to people?
Mr. Saturday Night made event. Yeah.
I'm 64 and 0 on WCW Saturday
That's
Night.
a joke in itself. Yeah. That's great. That could get over. Yeah.
Mr. Saturday Night. Yeah. Saturday Night Fever.
I'm Mr. Ramp. Yeah. I was gonna say Mr. Collision, but Ramp is actually lower. Yeah.
Right.
I'm Mr. Elevation. Yeah.
Right.
When I was gonna say when WWE wasn't doing much with Stevie Richards. He did that on Heat, so he turned it into Stevie Night Heat. This is my show, blah blah blah. So he did that.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That sounds good.
It was funny because he's described it before that nobody knew about it. Like he just did it. Management didn't know about it. So until Stephanie finally found out and was like, what is this Stevie Night Heat? I never heard of this. Yeah, just a test. We can do whatever with that. All
right, so so Yuta's challenging Eddie Kingston to face him on my turf on Rampage for the Continental Crown Championship. How about that? So the Undisputed Kingdom comes out. Cole was still on crutches. He sat down on a chair inside the ring. They do so. Why is it okay? So, bro, these guys have issues with like tons of guys, right? And they should have been like, those last week. We should keep this angle heated that they have with all the other guys, right? But instead, Roderick Strong's out there wrestling Brian Keith. I don't even know who Brian Keith is. Who is Brian Keith, Joe? Do you know who Brian Keith is?
I've heard his name in like 1 or 2 reviews prior to this, but I don't know who he is either.
Bro, he's on a lot recently, and he always loses, so he doesn't look like. Why are you? I don't understand with all those people why he's the one they keep putting in there. It ain't like he's having great matches. They're not bad. But big deal. So yeah.
All right. So so Roderick goes over obviously, and after the match, Cole and the others entered the ring, and Cole took a seat in the chair and delivered a promo. He said, "So many people concerned with earning the respect of fans." He said he and the others are not worried about the fans. Bro, he cut the same promo last week. I think it's almost like the same verbiage.
You're absolutely right. I was thinking, didn't you just say that last week? I thought I was the only one that thought that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't progress anything here. So.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why the show, bro. And that's why the show doesn't do well in the ratings. We're watching stuff that happened. You're repeating stuff from last week. It's not.
No, I don't understand if this was written for him or he wrote it himself, either one. And if it was written for him, didn't he read it ahead of time, or the other guys and anybody say, hey, this is kind of like we said last week, change it up?
Right.
And so those are the things that frustrate me. You know what I'm saying? Right. And because Adam Cole is better than that. And the other problem I have with the group is they kind of look like J-Brones, you know, like he looks like a star. He is a star. He's a star without a doubt. But the other guys don't look like stars. Even Wardlow covered up kind of looks, you know, right. And they just don't seem like a menacing group, like they're being pushed yet.
There's no heat yet. None.
Right.
I'm curious. I just saw this tweet. I want to get your guys' take on it because it's an AEW Dynamite thing. And Boris here on Twitter reposted, and a guy I know that works in the business sent it to me. Sean Ross Sapp tweeted, "The election year is in effect. I'd imagine it's going to affect a lot of wrestling viewership this year. I don't think it will as much as 4 years ago, but still likely a lot. The GOP debate and Trump town hall did big numbers last night." So the guy kind of mocked, like, AEW's numbers were down because of Trump. Like, I guess the tweet, the guy doesn't see a crossover between AEW viewers and Trump supporters. You know,
there's no way that the Haley versus DeSantis debate had any effect on the AEW number. There's no way that's this crowd. I couldn't care less about it. I didn't even go on Twitter and see like any of the clips of what happened. What they said, I couldn't care less.
They frame her to be a Democrat in Republican clothing, basically.
All right, so let me read this angle here. Dianna Peraso was interviewed by Renee Paquette. Peraso said she was on cloud nine following her debut, and she said she would have her people send Toni Storm a screener since Storm doesn't seem to know who she is. Peraso said she'd make her AEW Collision debut on Saturday. Red Velvet walked onto the set and said she would be making her debut on Collision as well. She suggested they could stir it up and then did her strange mixing gesture. Peraso asked if Velvet was using her stirring hand. Once Velvet confirmed that it was, Peraso told her that it was good to know and then walked away. Codys, I'm excited to see this match now. Are you?
After that verbiage, yes.
I am. I like Dianna. So I want to see what they do. I want to see her get a nice push.
So Flair comes out with Sting and Darby. Don Callis comes out with Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs. You knew who was going to go over here, but they did Darby did two crazy things. They picked up Darby in the corner of the ring by his arms and legs and tossed him flipping in the air across the ring, and he hit his neck on the bottom rope, and he could have broken his neck on that. Okay. And then Darby outside the ring did a coffin drop onto the floor onto Takeshita. Takeshita literally, he missed. Takeshita had to catch him so he wouldn't just hit the floor flat. And it looked awkward because he literally had to go out of his way to catch him to prevent him from splatting on the concrete instead of like hitting him with the move is what it looked like. But Sting performed a Scorpion Death Drop through two tables that were set up on the ringside floor, and he got covered Hobbs and got the 3 count. The trainer, referee, and Flair checked on Sting, who ended up on the apron. It looked like it could have actually been her for a shoot. And Alan limped back to the ring and checked on Sting, got to his feet and was cheered. Then Tony entered the ring. Taz said he didn't know how Shivani got to the ring so quick. Teleportation, Excalibur quipped. Shivani hyped Sting's final match for AEW Revolution, then asked Sting who his opponents would be. I guess this is supposed to be like some epic scene, but the Young Bucks walked out and they're dressed like Miami Vice, and they had mustaches, and they just walked out, stood there with their hands in their pockets, and Flair was like laughing at this, but the other guys were trying to act like this was serious. What did you think of this finish of the show here?
I don't know what to think. You know, to tell you the truth, first of all, I couldn't believe that Sting did that move, bro. I don't know if he's trying to outdo Darby Allin or what's the deal there, but that was a very dangerous move for somebody that had neck issues and at his age, and it's not necessary.
Right. For 793,000 people on
I'll give him, yeah, but he's probably making a lot more than that in money. But you know, God bless him, bro. But you don't got to do that anymore.
Right. That's a good point. So this was like, the show didn't do good in the ratings, so I'm not being a hater by telling everybody I did not like the show, because what was there to like?
Well, let me tell you something that let me just say something I wanted to say before. So when Chris Jericho came out in the Sammy Guevara match, they went into the stands. Remember? They went into the fans, and okay, this match too. I'm not a big fan of having 2 matches going to the stands. There should only be 1 per night, but
Right.
that's just a pet peeve.
I think they did two handshakes at the end of the matches here too tonight. Also,
Did they?
Yeah. All right.
I remember one for sure.
All right. So that's been our AEW review.
Well, so when you look at this show, okay, when you look at this show, Disco, what interests you coming out of this show?
Nothing. They didn't like. I know the storylines are going, and like I'd like to say I'm interested in the storylines, but they didn't progress any of the storylines to keep me interested in what would happen next week.
The only thing that I'm
advance anything, yeah.
The only thing I'm interested in seeing is Swerve and Joe. That's it.
Well, yeah, but it's Swerve and Joe, and it's Adam Page and Joe, and it's Hook and Joe.
Yeah.
It's like
like I said, Swerve and Joe.
Right.
Swerve and Joe. That's the only one I'm interested in.
Right.
Yeah.